John, are you touching my hand right now?
Even your connection is better.
I had to stop and think for a second. I'm like, wait, where are my hands?
What is your...
Welcome, everyone. This is the Film Glutton, and this is Buffet, featuring an Avengers Infinity War spoiler roundtable, Part 3. In this part, we cover the infamous snap, our biggest disappointments, but first, Rosemary starts us off with her biggest surprise moment. Enjoy the spoilers, 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 spoilers. Spoilers.
Doctor Strange when he gives up the stone.
Yes.
Because
That's good.
I was surprised that he did, and I didn't expect it.
Oh,
I didn't see that coming, and when he did, I'm like, he's seen it and all the possibilities.
Right.
Of course he's seen it. I didn't think it was going to happen, so that would be it for me.
For me, the surprise moment was Red Skull. Like seeing Red Skull like stuck on that planet. First of all, I thought it was the Weaving. I thought it was him. I for sure thought it was him.
Oh, that's cool.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Did you think it was him, John?
It was something was off.
No,
I didn't. I didn't go. That's him or
Oh, I
that's
thought it was
not
him.
him. I just go.
I thought it was.
I gotta look this up because I didn't think he was coming back, and it seems a little off.
That's why I thought it was a surprise. I'm like, wow, they kept this under wraps, guys.
It was the voice. Because
Yeah.
the voice is not Hugo
But it was
Weaving.
good. It didn't throw me
Good.
out of the story.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just was. It just enough that I didn't go. I don't think it's him. But I was also the very first time I was just more like, what the fuck? Red Skull?
Exactly.
Like I did not see that was single-handedly my
didn't
big
catch that.
surprise.
Because
I didn't.
The
see
Tesseract
it
takes
coming.
you somewhere, and that's the thing is you leave the first Avengers like the Tesseract takes. Where did he go?
Yeah.
And the best part is he had that. I have nothing. I have nothing. He's diminished as a human, and I love it. He has that Grim Reaper, and that whole segment was excellent because you also get a glimpse of what Thanos actually loves. Mind you, he was just torturing Nebula, but that's completely irrelevant. Then he decided, but I thought that was
he's always
crazy.
hated Nebula too.
He's always hated Nebula, and that was I thought one of the best little Thanos moments, especially when we were talking about humanizing him.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, he just shoved Gamora off this cliff. Wow, she's gone.
That was surprising.
Right?
I
Right?
wasn't sure he was going to do it. And no, I was surprised that they actually killed her off. That was
And what do you think about acknowledging Chris Pratt as the boyfriend?
Yeah.
So it kind of
What does he say
So wait,
about? He goes, "You're the boyfriend."
Booty call. The long-term something booty call. Is what
Thanos said that?
Chris Pratt says
Oh.
in
Oh
response
no, I was saying
to
what Thanos
Thanos said.
Yeah.
so now question, because Loki and Gamora are the two that die long before the rest of them die, right? So these
the
two
snap.
There's a few more, but
Oh,
yeah.
the snap.
So they're done.
Well, that's
Is that-
the way we should ask that is how do you
Actually-
think it's going to happen?
Okay.
Because the way I refer to it is like a lot of people are calling the snap theory is that everybody after the snap that vanished, they're going to come back because they
Right.
all have got contracts. Everybody before the snap
It's gone.
is gone.
Although they're making a
gone.
Black Widow movie, rumored to be.
I definitely feel that James Gunn in three, like when Avengers 4 comes, I don't know if she will come back. I think
Black
That's
Widow.
actually
Oh,
interesting.
Gamora.
Yeah.
I don't think she will come back because the way before the snap, so you keep her dead. I have a feeling, just based on what I've read, based on the 2 minutes of Google search that I did before we did this podcast, that James Gunn will have Chris Pratt's character search for her in 3, his ultimate love. If you look at the first two movies,
that's really
it's about
interesting.
them getting together. They never really get together, and this
So
one
do
they
you think
kind
they'll
of do.
bring her back though?
I don't think they'll bring her back in Avengers 4. I have
they
a
will.
feeling
Guardians
in Guardians 3 and Volume 3, that'll be his journey with whoever the new Guardians are at that point, the search for
Interesting.
Gamora.
I think that's awesome. That's a really interesting. I never thought about that. That's actually really
I could
good.
be wrong. I have no idea. It just seems because James Gunn, he had read the script for Avengers 3 and 4, and he said he's on track to complement that.
Interesting. I still would like to. I don't know. Personally, I still think there needs to be stakes, and I left going. I'm fine with everything that happened, knowing that half of them are going to come back. But I don't know. I feel like that is beautiful.
Kind of like the
That's
search for
beautiful.
Spock, I
That's
mean, if you look at
true.
it, so it has a
great
lot of
film.
It's still the stakes are still there. We even if she does come back, we will still have lost people. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it could still if she doesn't come back in 4, that's another reason to like if for Volume 3 to be a pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. But she's also
I
in
have
the,
no idea if
the
this is
Soul
true.
Stone world, though. She's
Right.
in that, like, that is it like a purgatory?
It feels like it.
Right?
Like,
That's the kind of impression I was
right,
getting.
because I mean that Red Skull being there makes it kind of like a purgatory. Right?
Exactly.
But she also fell off a really high cliff.
No,
But we don't know.
she's
Where,
dead.
but she fell
She's-
off screen, so we didn't see her die.
she?
Oh no, we
Oh,
did
no,
see
what-
her.
we did,
see
she
her
died.
at the
They did
bottom.
cut away,
At the
but I
end.
think they show her on the ground.
They did.
We clearly love the movie. We're raving about it. What's something you didn't like? And it could be a nitpick, but what is something that you thought? What is something that you thought like, I didn't like this part.
Okay, so a couple things from me. I talked about Mark Ruffalo's character, Bruce Banner, being too much of a cheerleader. To be honest, that's the way I took at it. The big thing for me that I kind of had a tough time with, and the more I've thought about it in retrospect, is the lack of kind of character development. And how there was really not much of that with any of our characters. I think the fact is that you had so many superheroes in it, so it's tough to really have character development. But even with Thanos' character, he goes in wanting to do something. Yeah, he had a couple moments where he was human, but the fact of the matter is, I didn't think that he still ended up achieving his goal. I mean, he still didn't really, I don't know, there was no big surprise with him. You know, that was my thing, the lack of kind of character development, the more I look at it. But it was kind of minimal because it's really only applied to Thanos. But I kind of felt like some storylines for me were a little forced, I thought. I think especially with the Gamora and Chris Pratt, I mean, he was at the end, he's pointing the gun, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know, all right. But I felt like they really hinted at that a little too much for me. And also
Captain America?
Captain America too. Yeah. I wanted something more out of Captain America. For me, he was just such a flat character in the fact that he just went through 2 years of kind of, I mean, he was gone. There's Secret Avengers. We don't know anything about him. And he just comes back and he's just ragged. He's, you don't know anything. And
And the
I
way,
kind
the
of
way
a
you
little
put
more
it
insight.
was he wasn't Captain America.
No, he
didn't have any actual Captain America moments.
No, he was compromised. And if you look at his uniform, it's spray painted. So it's kind of like
You're
expect
like,
him.
where you been, dog?
Exactly, where you been? I want to know, Captain. Like, you're such an iconic character in Avengers. You're such an iconic character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we don't get anything about it. And I think the lack of that, but these are all nitpicking too.
Yeah.
I think the lack of that is definitely something that I had issue with personally, just because I love the whole idea of Captain America.
Yeah.
He's this
he's the
this
best.
idealistic guy that you admire to be, and he was none of that. He didn't have any of the ideals that you're used to Captain America. But I mean, we haven't, like we said, it's a half movie, so there's still the second part of it. So
I have to agree with you wholeheartedly on the whole balance of the characters and how some of them didn't really get much development, and it's a really tough thing to do. That's hard because you had so many characters, and the ones that really stick out for me as sorely lacking, Scarlet Witch and Vision's love story.
right.
I really didn't like it. It just pulled me out every time I saw them. And maybe it's because I don't think they have very good chemistry to begin with. I've never thought they had good chemistry since they first developed that storyline. I thought those two have been really awkward at best. And even when we see them in, gosh, where were they? Russia? Or where was it?
Scotland.
Scotland, that's right. Scotland. And we're like, it just didn't work for me at all.
Forced.
To the point that when she's about to, help him out, and I'm like, just do it already. Like, I mean, come on. It doesn't feel like they love each other enough to have this push-pull kind of thing at the end. I'm like, oh, now you're just dragging it on.
Well, let me ask you just on that point, because I don't think I was as negative as that, but at the same time, I did notice that what I walked away with saying, on one hand, the film made me appreciate the movies that came beforehand.
Yeah.
But then it made me want one. That was one. I think I would have been okay with it if they would have given them maybe their own movie, but some other movie where that was a feature
Civil
story.
War,
Would that have made a difference?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Because I think the problem isn't so much that we haven't seen enough of their story. The problem is that the actors who inhabit that role, are not very connected. They don't have good chemistry. I just don't see Scarlet Witch and Vision, and I forget the guy, both of their names as actors.
Paul Bettany and
thank
Elizabeth.
you. Thank you. And I just don't see them as great together.
Or is it because you
Yes.
don't like robots?
No,
Are you anti-robot?
She has a really big problem with-
Anti-human-robot
Opportunity.
relationships
I have
makes you
equal
uncomfortable?
Opportunity. Yeah.
That's weird because I remember when she
you
talked
knew
about
who
it.
I'm married to, you would completely understand how equal opportunity I am.
It's weird because I remember walking out of the movie with her and she was, those damn robots. Think they could love humans?
Damn dirty robots.
Robot killers.
Yeah. That would be my biggest sticking point.
I agree
aside
with that.
from
Yes,
yeah.
that felt
That's a
kind of
good one.
forced.
It felt very
Show a little bit
forced.
more of that in Civil War then.
or
you know?
give us a better acting. I just don't
Right.
think they did it, and I know they tried to give us those moments of like, oh, I'm having a hard time letting go of you, but tears aren't just the only thing you need. We need better chemistry. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
I felt like there was more chemistry with Groot and Rocket when we
I
had that moment.
agree.
And it's like I wish we had that same emotion. Not so
Yes.
much the dad son, but that same dynamic
Right.
with them. You know,
Yeah.
but the problem is they only appeared in Age of Ultron and Civil War.
Did you already talk about the part?
What the part that I'm nitpicking?
Yeah,
I think though I've
No idea.
it's really the when they have Thanos.
He's gonna mention leftovers and
He probably
The
will.
thing about
gonna be-
leftovers, guys.
He's probably going to mention the runtime.
No, when they have Thanos and they're about to take the glove off, and Pratt's
Oh, yeah.
character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when Star Lord is like, "Did you kill her? Did you kill her? You son of a bitch!" When he's going into that,
How was he again?
Is "Did you kill her? Did you kill her? You son of a bitch!" When he's going into that mode, I kind of felt. See, here's the thing. Like, I understand if you lose someone, you could lose yourself. I get that.
Right.
But I just wish they would have found a different way for him to be upset, or another moment where it just felt cheap. Because I think as a viewer, for me, when I'm watching that, I didn't really. I'm like, you're really gonna do that now? They almost have the glove off. Like it's one of those moments I wish they kind of did something else with.
Do you wish that he knew that Gamora was dead then? Before that? Do you think that would have made it better?
I don't know. I think even if he knew earlier or after it, the bottom line, I get that they needed Thanos to keep the glove. Like if you're writing the story like, oh, but he doesn't get, they're real close to getting the glove off, and then they don't. Well, I just wish they came up with something else.
there is
Now,
1,001 ways they could have done that.
yeah, no, again, I'm nitpicking. But when I watched that, I was just like, oh, okay, come on. Because, they almost have it off. I mean, dude, they're right. They had this plan. I know he didn't like the plan. He wanted to have his own plan. But, it was just one of those moments. I wish they'd come up with something else. And real quickly, the other thing that you guys don't agree with, probably I think I'm in the minority in this, but Hulk not coming out, I kind of felt like we should have had him a little more. Like I guess with the whole character, he was just on Thor Ragnarok, and he was a fucking gladiator, man. He fought anybody.
Right.
I understand that this is probably the first time he got his ass handed to him, and he just got beat down like nothing before. But it just felt so, watching him going, "No, I won't be used as a weapon." Just seeing those moments, it was a little cheap. And again, I'm nitpicking. Like, it's not something I really wanted because again, you're lied to in the trailer. Like, he's gonna be there in that awesome shot. Like, you just thought he was gonna let loose more so, and when he didn't, I was a little let down. But again,
I wonder, would it have helped if he had one more scene where you see him get his ass kicked again?
yes.
Like even with the henchmen, like with their
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
if he
right,
would have,
yeah.
if he would have hulked out and then fought and still lost, I would have appreciated that more. But that's just me being a fanboy. I get that. Like, I think I don't think too many people have complained about that. So I'm definitely the minority on that.
I think they complain about like Carlos was talking about where they mistreat the character and they didn't give Bruce Banner enough stuff. But I don't know if
I agree with you guys
that.
more. Rosemary was saying too. She's the first one that pointed out to me that he's more of a guy,
More of a guy.
not a scientist.
Yeah.
The
So
only
I agree with that more
Yeah.
than so much like him not coming out.
And that's
but-
what made him great in the first Avengers. Is he's
Absolutely.
like when they're sitting there, just kind of he's with his with his glasses, and Iron Man's picking on him like a little kid, and but you see him that stoic scientist, and you just see it's like, well, is that because of Thor Ragnarok then? That kind of made him a comedian.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is because he went through a huge transformation. Because one of my biggest problems with Thor Ragnarok, where it was just the setup, I'm like, wait a minute, how long has he been on this planet?
2 years.
How long has he been?
2 years, at least a year. It's pretty obvious.
It says it in the film?
No, I don't know.
Okay, I was gonna be like, because that was the only thing that I was like, how long has he been? And we just don't see Ruffalo at all. So I actually enjoyed at least being able to see Ruffalo,
Right.
He's
great.
and have him have some time, because he's such a brilliant actor. He could do anything. But I do agree with all the issues with it too. It would have been nice to have him be. But like I said, he went through such a transformation with Ragnarok that I'm like, okay, Ruffalo's been inside. Well, Bruce Banner has been inside Hulk for all this time. He's had time to just be like, wait, what's going on? Even in Thor Ragnarok, when he did finally come out, he's like, whoa, what's going on?
Right.
It's been a while, guys.
Yeah,
He's lost.
exactly. He's not that kind of. There's not a shyness to him or something that makes him like hinder, curb his enthusiasm to kind of put it like that.
Well, I can understand humanizing him, right? 'Cause that's what Ragnarok did, was humanize him. But that doesn't mean you're going to lose your scientific background completely. And that's where I'm like, look, he's a scientist. Like, so yeah, he's a little bit more socially normal now, but he's still a scientist.
It would have been. What about like if they would have kept him in the laboratory working on Vision?
Right.
Even if they kept the scene where he was like kind of smack talk,
Yes.
which was fine, because that was a hilarious scene.
Right.
But instead of trying to have him go out in the armor and try to do his thing, if he just would have stayed in there, being a little more
and help
bannerish.
the Panther's sister.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
She
that
was
would've
smarter
been-
than him.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that could have been an interesting dynamic
Dynamic,
too.
yeah.
To have
Oh,
those
absolutely.
two together.
That's
these
true.
two
Oh.
And
scientists.
she's awesome.
Okay, now that's
Shit.
my. I didn't have that issue before, but
Oh,
now
we got an
that
issue.
scene we just started writing is
yeah.
genius.
Well, that's it for part 3. Join us next time when Rosemary says something insightful, Juan says something not insightful, and Carlos sounds very enthusiastic about all of it. Also, their predictions for Avengers 4. Until next time, this is the Film Glutton reminding you to never turn down an upgrade. Have a good night, folks.